for about 90 minutes and recording all about supporting complex children and sensitive children and children having a hard time right now. We'll be talking about different things that we can take away today and be able to use to support these kids starting today, tomorrow, the next day. Also how to manage our time, because goodness knows that's a challenge for all of us parents. I'll be telling you a little bit about like myself and why this topic is so important to me. And I'm really grateful that you're here. So thank you so much. All right, hang on guys. Okay, so we have this little checklist that we made here at Inspire. Find a quiet place, have privacy, so use earphones if you'd like. Kids are always listening somehow, even if they're across the house. And so it's a nice way to keep it private and listen to what you want to listen to without them getting worried. So technology, we know technology can be a challenge, which is why we're recording this. We're going to be sharing it widely so that people can have this information accessible to them whenever they need, or a refresher because they maybe already know, and being prepared. For more information about online sessions or free webinars, therapy sessions, one-on-one support, visit our website at inspirecommunityoutreach.ca or .com. Let's see here. We have some funny things. We like to make jokes here at Inspire. So I had foolishly had an idea that I would have this amazing schedule, had all this pressure for myself that I was gonna like make sure my house was clean, all these things that, you know, I hadn't been able to do for the last 6 months. I was gonna do it now. And, you know, I was going to get my kids up on time, and I was going to make a breakfast, and I was going to, you know, set out educational material. Like, I had big plans. And then the first week I realized this is more like my real life schedule, where like the kids are awake and they're on screen time, and I'm like still in bed at 8:45, like just, you know, cuddled up with one kid, or, you know, just trying to avoid the day because I just know there's so many things coming my way. You know, making breakfast, more screen time, cleaning the kitchen for the 100th time. This is the reality of a lot of our weeks, and that's okay. And so I want to just give you permission wherever you're at right now. That's okay. No judgment from me, that is for sure. So this is some of the topics that we're going to be talking about today, because these are the topics that you have said as the community are the biggest challenges right now. So the stress and increased pressure in regards to loving up our kids with complex needs and sensitivities, it's a lot. So there's the education, you know, managing their behaviors, making sure their emotional needs are met, managing our house and our partner, and, you know, just the day-to-day life has gotten more complicated. And so we're going to be touching on that. The behavior challenges that our kids have kind of are its own topic because it's so complicated. And you know, before we had a whole village, you know, available, if we were lucky, respite services and school and after school care. And now it's just us. So the challenging behaviors that we're experiencing have increased, and it's really difficult. Scheduling and filling time, not just our schedule for our kids, but also our own schedule, our whole family schedule. So these are the topics that we actually made a manual. We have a 21-page manual about. If you would like access to that, you can just sign up for our newsletter and we send it to you for free. You can just download it from there. I can also email it out if you would like. I'm happy to do that. So here's some important things. Please keep yourself muted until the first 90 minutes are done. I will let you know when it's done. That way we can share the recording, and we don't have other people's information available. It's just this, which is going to be really great. Folks. Any questions that you have, which I hope you have lots, can be added to the chat, either sent privately to me or to the entire group. You can just click, or they can be asked by unmuting during the last unrecorded 30 minutes. I will be taking notes during that session because I want to make sure that I have a record of all the challenges that we're facing as the community, because if you have that challenge, probably everybody has that challenge. I'm going to do my very best, and we'll do our best to answer every question. If I don't have an answer for you right now, I can always look it up after. Personal or confidential information shared during the training is known to be shared in this online forum. If you have something really personal and you want it to keep it confidential, that's okay. We can make a one-on-one session for you after, no problem. Okay, can be super short even. Inspire asks that all information be kept in this group. So during the chat portion, just, we want to respect people's privacy. We're not liable for any information shared outside of the training. We can't be. It's the internet, unfortunately. This recording and additional resources will be made available and emailed to you afterwards, and to lots of people, because lots of people need the support. So let me go to what we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be talking about an introduction to disabilities and challenging behaviors. Information that's helpful for everyone, in my opinion, because everybody's got some kind of challenging behavior. As human beings, we all do. And there's lots of disabilities or differences in this world, and our kids might possess some of them as well. Understanding the hidden reality of children with disabilities, including complex needs. And I'll get into what complex needs are in a little bit. Again, something very near and dear to my heart. Learning responses that you can use immediately to support connection to children who are hard to connect to, with special focus on social isolation. So during this experience of COVID-19, we are all at home most of the time. And those children that were difficult to connect to before, guess what? They're still hard to connect to, even though we really want to connect them. Working within limited resources to maximize well-being of children. Of course, we want unlimited resources. I certainly do. I want to get all the expensive wooden learning toys and all the amazing helpers to my house and all the amazing things. Right now, it's going to be really tough, and so we have to spread what little resources that we have and make them feel really meaningful. Another thing, number 5, providing practical tools customized to the needs of complex and sensitive children. So having tools like, sitting down for dinner every day and making sure that you're having a wholesome meal, that sounds really good in theory, but in reality, that's not always what it looks like. The recommendations that we as clinicians or helpers give to typical, like neurologically typical families, they don't always work for sensitive families. And I know that. I live like this myself. And so the tools that we share are customized for families like ours. Building on your strengths and giving a variety of resources for continued growth and learning. Every person here and every person in this world has strengths and value and a richness about them. And so I want to honor that. And I want to acknowledge that, we don't have to be perfect, and thank goodness, because none of us are, and that we're going to be building on the strengths that we already have and hopefully making things a lot easier for us and our kiddos. All right. So here we go, guys. What do we mean by complex needs? We mean that our bodies can have differences. The mental health or health of our mind, we can have anxiety or worry, be more sensitive, or even can be more down on ourselves or feel down. Cognitive means taking longer times to learn some things. Neurological is the brain takes in and learns information in a different way. This includes ADHD, autism, trauma-related differences, among so many others. And complex essentially means a combination of a bunch of stuff. This presentation, I'll be talking about complex needs. It's my preferred label because I identify as complex, and I have a variety of different needs and a variety of differences about myself, a lot of which I see the strengths in, but it still can make things a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and why this topic is so important to me. So I tried to be normal once, and it was the worst 2 minutes of my life. Except it wasn't 2 minutes, it was a really long period of time. I spent my entire life, trying to fit into what I thought others wanted to see and wanted me to be. And as a young child, I've always had complex needs. I have learning differences like dyslexia. I have mental health sensitivities like anxiety, have very significant anxiety disorder. I have neurological differences like complex trauma from having post-traumatic stress disorder for a lot of my life. So for the most part, like I kind of fit into a variety of ways of being in the world. I also have ADHD and ADD, so lots of lots of brain differences up in here. The reason that I think this is important to acknowledge is that, like, being a child with complex needs and sensitivities, and then now being a parent of these amazing children. I have several children. One of my sons also has autism and a variety of other differences. And being a service provider now for 21 years, I have been very privileged to know the different ways of supporting families by being a family, being a child, being supported, and now getting to sit alongside families. So when I say I know, and I'm sorry. Things are so hard right now, and we're gonna work on things together. And I'm not going away. I'm gonna be around to give you some help over the next however long it takes to feel like things are manageable. What is that? Oh, that's just my mind. So throughout my whole childhood and even up until a couple of years ago, I really felt like the way that I was not accepted, and it was really hard for me to be in the world. And now I think of it like a rainbow brain with lots and lots of strengths and wonderful things to offer the world and support people. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about, I guess, about challenges that we're facing in the home. For those of you who don't know me, I am Angela, and I'm the CEO and founder of Inspire Community Outreach. And I am, I guess, a mental health and accessibility expert is kind of what they call me. I'm just like a normal human who just like loves families, and I understand how hard it is. And so I'm very happy to share what skills I have with people who need. So let's see. So let's think about some challenges that we have right now in our homes with our kiddos in isolation. Oh, there's so many. We're going to be talking about some fun things for you, some fun things for your kids, making plans that you can look forward to with your children of things that feel manageable, reducing the pressure and feeling like things can be, I don't know, joyful. That would be good, right? Having some joy. I also have taken in a lot of these positive messages that you guys have sent in about things that are topics that you'd like to talk about or challenges you'd like to talk about. And so I've written all those down to kind of build into the training today. And then, of course, some individual questions later on. So things that we know about challenges and when things feel hard is that things feel hardest when our problem, when we think that our problem affects everything. It's happening because of me or hurts me personally, and it's happening now and will always be happening, because we actually don't respond to what the situation is. We respond to what we think about the situation. So if you think for a moment about being in isolation, wow, it's really difficult. It does, affects a lot of things about our life. It is hurting me personally. It's affecting me and my children, and it's happening now. And sometimes it feels like it always will happen, which is why our children are having a hard time, right? Because it's difficult for all of us. So I'll let you guys take a minute and think about some of the challenges. You can write them down. Take some notes if you want. I like to have some things that are funny. Funny is important. So quarantine, homeschooling. Oh, that has been a topic that I've been asked about so many times. Oh, Angela, like I just can't manage. Like I can hardly manage keeping my kids, fed and clothed and calm. Never mind having to be a specialist educator and teach them all the things. And I don't have one kid, I got 6. How am I going to manage? You know what? You don't have to be a specialist educator. You don't have to. I'm going to give you permission not to be. Right now, if you can keep your kids calm and nurtured and cuddled up, or give them space if they want space, then you're doing really great. You're doing really amazing. I love this cartoon because it says what I'm thinking. I still don't get it. Yeah, me neither. Unfortunately, now you go to a really shitty school, okay? The expectations for us to have 6 hours of schooling every day is not attainable. I'm just going to say it. It's not attainable, and I can't do it. So I don't know who's doing it. Is there somebody doing it? It's not me. So isolation learning. If you think about, you know, what makes a problem feel really, really stressful to us in our minds and our bodies, it affects everything. Well, my whole day now is about homework, and I hate it. Things are the worst. It's happening because of me or hurts me personally. I have tried everything and they will not do this. They will not learn this homework. What am I doing wrong? They're just trying to anger me. Those are natural things to think, even if we know they're not true, because our brain is responding to stress. It's happening now, and it's always going to be happening. Am I going to be having to teach him until he's 25? I have thought this. I have 3 children at home, and they are all in different grades, and they are all learning different things, and they all have different sensitivities and needs. And so, like, what we're able to learn right now is like, this is how you measure to do baking, because we want to make a cake. Like, that's where we're at right now. I want to talk a little bit about what's happening to our children when they're getting upset, and also what's happening to us when we're getting upset, because it's something that's to be expected, that we're going to feel frustrated, that our children are going to be feeling frustrated. I mean, we did before, so it's not like now we're just not going to be feeling those same feelings anymore. The response that all humans have ongoing, not just now, is a fight, flight, freeze response, a stress response when we feel like we're in danger. Our sensitive kids feel like that a lot more than the average person, and I speak from experience that growing up I felt like that a lot more than the average person. So think about to yourself, what do you do most often when you're feeling very stressed? Do you want to flight and run and eat Kit Kats in the pantry? Do you want to fight? Do you yell and scream and want to break the things? Break the Kit Kat maybe? Or do you freeze? Lots of us freeze, and that's that shutdown response. You know, those kiddos who you're like, hey, and they're not there at that moment. That's the freeze response, right? And all those 3 responses are natural, and they are normal, and they can be very frustrating for parents, because when our kids are in flight freeze, they're activated, they're feeling alarmed, they're feeling stressed, and that's contagious. And so of course, it's going to be natural that we're going to be feeling more stressed as well. So that's super fun, isn't it? Of course, at the bottom there, we've got social engagement, compassion, you know, joy, being in the moment. That's our wise mind. That's our calm mind. Of course, that's where we all want to be, but nobody's there all the time. And right now, with increased stress, because all of the stress that we have in our life is also cumulative, it's adding up. If we don't find a way to express it and deal with it and honor it and hold space for it, it's going to bite us. It's going to bite us. So if you don't feed the need, it's going to bite you. I have a need to de-stress. And if I don't de-stress when things are very, very stressful, I'm going to lose it, right? That's a normal response that families are saying to me. And I got to say, I feel the same way. That's why I got to have lots of ways to do, I'm going to say it. Self-care. I said it. I'm sorry. I have to say it. We're going to be talking about like ways that families like us can do self-care, even when we have no time and we're managing children every hour of every second of every day. You may notice that you actually have less time now than you ever did before, even though other people are like, we have so much time. We've got so much time for renovations. Who has time for that with children on you 24 hours a day? Not me. I love this Dr. Dan Siegel hand. I'm gonna show it. Look, it's so fantastic. So we have here, this is imagine your brain. This is when we're born, we have our instincts. So when we're hungry, we gotta eat. When we're tired, we gotta sleep. And so this is all the pieces that are already built into our brains as soon as we're born. You know, this area, the amygdala, which is the emotion warehouse of the brain, is fully formed around age 5 or 6, depending on the kiddo. And that's what that, that in terms of keeping us safe and helping us be in survival, that's that alarm bells going. So I'm feeling in danger and I'm going to fight, flight, or freeze. And up until age 29, we have this area of our brain, the frontal cortex, which is thinking about consequences. If I do this, this is the consequence of it. If I yell and scream at my mom, she's not going to like it. That's fully formed between the ages of 25 and 29. And individuals who are neurodiverse or neurologically different, we tend to take a little bit longer than the average brain to develop in that, in some of the ways that I'm talking about, like problem solving and staying calm, regulation, and things like that. So what happens is that when we're feeling calm, we're using what we have and all the development that we've gained of, okay, if I do this, I'm gonna get into trouble. My mom's not gonna like it. When we become upset, or we see something that's making us feel in danger, our frontal cortex goes offline and our amygdala is in full force. And so we have a situation where, the alarm bells are going, it's contagious, the child is yelling and screaming, getting very upset, and it's very hard to calm them down. And so a lot of the kids that I'm working with, they're sensitive children, and they don't have that a couple times a day, like neurologically typical or less sensitive people. They're having that like dozens and dozens and dozens of times a day, sometimes hundreds of times a day. So if it feels exhausting, it's because it is exhausting. Raising these kiddos is not easy. Being one of these kiddos is not easy. It's hard to be one of these kids. When I talk about these kids, these individuals, I often will say the 5%. And I love this diagram. It's from Lauren Alberta, and I find it really helpful because for the most part, most people aren't that sensitive, and we can kind of learn in all kinds of ways. We can see something written and now we've learned it. In the education system, they use this because it helps educators and service providers understand that there's all kinds of kids and there's all kinds of ways of learning. And we have 5 to 15% where they need some targeted supports, they need goal setting and mentoring, they need a lot more one-on-one. Our kids can be in that category, and a lot of our kids need intensive individualized supports, or the 5%. And that's people like me. And so things are quite a bit more difficult for us, right? Especially as parents now of these children right now, where think of the word intensive. And now it's just you. If you're lucky, you've got a supportive partner who's also supporting you with that intensive support for this kiddo. That sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. So I just want to honor that if it feels hard, it's because it is hard. And right now we're doing something that we had never anticipated doing. And I just really want to honor and celebrate the effort and care that you're putting into supporting your family or your community right now. I love this diagram that my team made, and it's about the phases of escalation. So we all get escalated, some of us more than others. If you think about your child right now in a challenging behavior that they face, think about what rumbling might look like. So for example, my rumbling when I'm feeling upset or when I'm going to be getting upset, I kind of feel warm. I can catch myself kind of clenching my hands a little bit or clenching my jaw. A lot of children repeat themselves, mom, 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 right? That really intense kind of verbalization. So the rumbling can look like that. You might have a rumbling that looks different, but often our kids have some similarities to us. They do get hot to touch, right? They start feeling maybe a flutter in their chest or their stomach. Helping them become aware of that and becoming aware of it ourselves can be really helpful. So there's lots of ways of doing prevention when they're getting upset. So like I'll be sending this out, but like there's a couple of top ones are distraction. So like if I'm really mad about something that's happened outside and I come inside and I go on my phone or have a treat, well, that doesn't bother me as much anymore what happened outside. So distraction can be a powerful tool when used with care, because obviously distraction like video games or my phone, they're really fun, but they're not necessarily going to be really helpful for my mental health, and they're more of a short-term help, right? So connecting. So if I'm feeling really frustrated about something and I text my best friend and I'm like, oh, you will never believe it. You will never believe it. And she's like, yeah, that sounds horrible. I'm like, yeah, thank you for listening. And all of a sudden I feel de-escalated, right? I could be amping up, but I don't need to now because I was validated. And so think about what are the things that help you. And a lot of those same things will help our kiddos if we offer that to them. Some of the things here we have an opportunity to intervene. So we've got sequencing, validating, normalizing, and creating distance from whatever is bothering them. So if their sibling is punching them, having distance from that sibling is a plus, guys. Good job. Normalizing that they're feeling frustrated. Yeah, I get it. It's really frustrating to be at home. For an indefinite amount of time, like, oh man, like there was a birthday party you really want to go to. Oh man, like really being authentically normalizing that. Of course, they're going to be frustrated right now. Validating is very similar, right? Like honoring their feelings of like, yeah, of course. And then sequencing, which we'll get into a little bit more later, but essentially sorting out their thoughts about like if they've fallen down and something's happened. Like first you were running and then you fell down and now you hurt your leg, and I'm here and I'm going to help you. Because when we get frustrated, our mind gets all jumbled up, so we can help sort out their thoughts. So that's the opportunity for getting regulated or calm. We can't always be doing that. We can't always do it perfectly every time, even if we are doing all the perfect things. So there's going to be sometimes, even though you're going to do all the right things, that they're going to get angry, and that's okay. And so giving them some space, seeing that sadness or tears or the apology is kind of where they get their back to regulation, or they're coming down from their challenge. I also want to honor that sometimes our kids get up and down real quick, and I don't get calm real quick. So, you spice me up and you were screaming, yelling, and breaking stuff, kiddo. And now I need a few more minutes than you, right? And kind of normalizing that. Like, I'm glad you're calm. That's great. Good job. Also, I'm not feeling calm yet. I'm going to need another 5 minutes. And a lot of parents, we have a little bit of a slower de-escalation than our kids. So just understand that. See, it's coming. It's going to come, guys. Let's honor that not one of us is crushing it every single day. Despite what it looks like on social media, no one is crushing it every day, especially right now. Like, parents are like, you know what? I don't even want to do laundry right now. And that's okay. You know what? Like, do what you got to do, and understand that what you're capable of is going to be different from moment to moment, day to day, week to week. So what I was capable of last week is not the same as what I'm going to be capable of next week. And that's great. Maybe it's better, maybe it's worse, I don't know. But ultimately, like, there's nobody more capable than you to support your children and your family and yourself. And so you got this, and keep coming back to that care and that gentleness to yourself. How would you talk to your best friend who called you and said the same things that you're thinking? You'd probably say, I'm really sorry, things are hard right now, and I wish I could help. You would not tell her to suck it up. And so talking to yourself like your best friend would is going to be really helpful during this time, and always. Me pretending to be shocked when my kid says they can't find their harmonica is a little bit funny, but also for real. So, like, if there's something in your house right now during isolation, like the game Bop It, put it away, like in the trash bin. For real. Do what you gotta do to get through the day. I mean, if it's their favorite thing, have a conversation, I guess. But also, why are they sending recorders home during a 1 month spring break? Could be longer than 1 month. That recorder's gone now, just to tell you that happened. So we're going to talk about like building relationship with our kiddos, because it's not easy, and understanding why they are sensitive, because there's really good reasons for it. It's not like we were like, growing our children or picking our children and being like, I really want them to be super sensitive and like really push my buttons. Nobody says that. Nobody plans for this. I will say that really sensitive people are incredible, and that they have gifts that other people can't ever have. It also means that they can't like win the jackpot and have all these amazing gifts and not have challenges. So they also have challenges that other people don't have, which is unfortunate, but it's worth it, believe me. That kind of attitude is really helpful for kids who are having a hard time. and is very empowering for them to think, oh, maybe it's not so bad actually that I'm super sensitive and I get really angry, because I'm also really sensitive and caring. I'm really loving to my grandma, and I'm really good at being a big brother, and I'm really good at artwork, and I'm really good at music. What are they good at? I mean, that's the balancing act, right? Of being super sensitive or having more challenges than most. So we're going to talk about the why behind the behavior. There's no quick fixes for behavior. I'm sorry. I wish there was. If there was, I would give it to you. So there's biological reasons why kids have challenging behavior. Pain, could be medication related, personality, hunger, being tired, their level of energy. So some people are high charge, some people are low charge. I'm a high charge gal, and I will always be a high charge gal. You can think of your children right now and you know exactly which ones are high charge and low charge, can't you? I remember one of my kiddos having extraordinary pain, and he doesn't have the words to say what was going on for him, but we found out it was pain related. And when we figured out the pain, wow, was he ever calmer after? It was amazing. Hunger, growth spurt kids, man, are they ever hungry and tired. And if we don't attend to that, if you don't feed that need, it's going to bite you. They are crabby and they are angry. Social needs, this is a really big challenge for my kids right now, and for my older kids, the kids that I'm supporting. We all have social needs. Some have more, some have less. So I'm talking about attachment or attunement, this idea of I'm present here with you right now. I am connected to you. I am caring about you. I have compassion and love for you. Boredom, attention, confusion, these are all social needs to get met. Just like on the spectrum of energy level, there's spectrums for all kinds of things, including attachment needs or connection needs. If your child needs a lot of connection, or your child needs a lot less connection, you already know. And so what are ways that is manageable for you to connect with your child in a way that's going to feel like it's not suffocating you? So we do lots of activities together. I have one child who needs a lot of connection. We will do activities, all the activities together. And then in the afternoon, I set them up with activities on their own. I know that that's a better time for her to have an hour or two to play Barbies on her own, versus the morning she needs to be sitting on somebody's lap or doing an activity like baking, or essentially holding my hands, like right on my body all of the time. Sensory information, a lot of our sensitive kids have sensitivities to noise, lighting, temperature. If it's too loud, can you get some headphones? Can you encourage them to go to their room? For lighting, can you turn off the lights? Can you get them to tell you that they need the lights off? The temperature, not too hot, not too cold. I'll say wet. So right now things are very wet outside, and my kids are really struggling with going outside, having a play, and then getting soaking wet. So, you know, honoring that, like, that's going to affect their behavior big time. And then when they say they're ready to go because they're soaking wet, guess what? It's time to go. Environmental cues and differences. Two people can experience the exact same situation differently, and so that can affect behavior as well. Experiences in life. So a lot of us are, you know, co-parenting. We are parenting children at our house, and they're going to another house. That experience is going to, you know, affect what they think and how they feel about this situation, being in isolation. What is at my house is different than what's at dad's house. It also means history. So if they've had traumas or other things, I will tell you this, that every human does not get out of life without traumas. Lots of us have lots of traumas, and whatever kind of sensitivities that we have due to trauma can be healed no matter how old you are. So just to give you a little bit of hope about that, even if you're 80 years old, you can heal that. Communication differences and deficits. I have one kiddo who has some sensitivities to speaking, so there's not a lot of words that come out, but he communicates in other ways. And so sometimes there's a frustration, right, with trying to communicate and having people not understand, or him perceiving that other people don't understand. So that's a challenge too, and that affects the behaviors that you're going to be seeing at home. And as I'm reading all these things, and I'm thinking about the behaviors of these complex kiddos, I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot of reasons to have complex behaviors, sensitive behaviors, and big behaviors. And as parents, we often have some of these sensitivities ourselves, and also these gifts ourselves. And so how exhausting is it, my friends, to experience all of these challenges, both in our body and staying calm, and also helping our kiddos? I love this diagram. So there are some of us fortunate enough to have children with autism. And if you do, congratulations. I had to fix this PowerPoint or this diagram a little bit, but this is a neurologically typical brain. And on the other side there, this is temporal Grandin's brain. And so if we look about the ability to process what's heard and the ability to process what is seen, we see it's pretty different. And so a lot of us who are neurodiverse, like myself, we're kind of in between that. So you might process things completely different than both of those, and that's okay too. There's gifts and challenges to both, or all, I should say. And so an example that I share, which brings me a lot of joy to share, is that my son, he was around age 5, and we were at Okamic, and we were having a great time. And we're walking, and all of a sudden he stops, and he's not going anywhere. And I'm like, "Come on, buddy, let's go. The other kids are going. Let's give her." And he says, "Stuck." And I said, "Are you stuck? Like, do you need help? How can mama help you?" And he says it again, and he's clearly not stuck. He's walking around, he's looking around, he's kind of doing one of these. So I really don't know what he's talking about. I'm getting so curious. What is he thinking about? What is he feeling right now? What is he like looking like? What's happening right here? And so eventually I found what he was looking at is that there was a goose with his butt sticking out of a giant mound of wood chips. And he was kind of, for lack of a better term, twerking, like he was stuck and he was trying to get out. And this was approximately a mile away. And so what he's able to see is really different than me. I didn't notice that. He was happy, he was excited to notice that through a fence a mile away. And so sometimes putting ourselves out of our head and thinking about what our children are experiencing with their senses, and understanding that what they process is different than ours, can be very powerful. So the fact that he won't sleep on his bed, why isn't he sleeping on his bed? Is it uncomfortable? Is it because it's in a different room? Is it because he likes being close to you on the couch? Why does he feel that need? There's a good reason. We just got to figure it out. Probably you've seen this before. It's the circle of security. It's fantastic. Very popular in terms of understanding attachment. So you are the secure base. You're the lovely hands that look horribly scary right there. And we have a toddler, but this accounts for all humans. Preschool, teenagers, your spouse. And so we all have a need to go off and explore the world. Watch over me, delight in me, help me, enjoy me. These are all things that we need. We need to be celebrated, don't we? And then something's going to happen. So we're going to be triggered in some way. We're going to feel fearful in some way. And then we need someone to welcome us. We need someone to be calmer for us. We need someone to regulate with us, take charge when necessary, protect me, comfort me, delight in me, and organize my feelings. And it's a powerful message because it's not always easy. In fact, it's rarely easy when our child is sensitive and complex, and maybe they're throwing a shoe, maybe they're screaming and yelling and calling us the worst names you could ever imagine. And now they want us to protect them, comfort them, delight in them, and organize their feelings. What? Come on now. It's a lot easier to look at in a diagram than it is to do sometimes in real life. And so we're going to be talking about, for these kids, how can you do that? Because it's not easy. It's not easy to do it for my children. It's not easy to do it when I go to homes and I'm supporting families, although currently not going to homes, safety. But for years, I've been going to people's homes and providing them in-home therapy, intensive supports, and getting them back on track from when they're feeling like they're in distress. And it's not easy for any of us. Every plant has their own requirements in order to grow, and so do people. Someone had sent this to me, and I don't know where it's from, but it's the most lovely idea, is that our kids also have their own requirements to grow. And there's no book, didn't get a book that was like, dear mother and father, this is exactly what I need you to say when I'm upset, or this is how I need you not to, help me be upset. There's no guidebook. Sorry, this one's hilarious. This is just a little funny thing. So age appropriate chores. This is to say that our kids' expectations, or kids' expectations that we have for our kids, sometimes don't match what they can actually do. So they don't have the skills yet to be able to accomplish what we're asking. And this is a funny way of saying it. Age 2 to 3 years, make bed, pick up toys, give daddy a haircut, chainsaw the trees. It's some of the expectations that you have are going to need to be adjusted, and not just for your kids, but also for yourself. The expectations that I had originally, like I had said, was that I was going to keep house and I was going to do all these things, and I have this renovation that I was going to complete, and I had like huge ideas of what I was going to do, and I had to readjust my expectations for myself because I was feeling stressed. And if I'm feeling stressed, I'm not going to be able to be calm, and if I'm not calm, my kids aren't going to be calm. So if you have things like bathe grandpa and reshingle the roof on your kids' to-do list, maybe remove it, just saying. For those of us who have kids that are oppositional, it's not so easy to just, when you're like, hey, can you help me? Or maybe we should, they're not going to be like, yes, of course, let's do all the things, mom. So when they're feeling frustrated and they're in their amygdala response, when I say agree, I mean agree with their feelings, validate their feelings. So for instance, my son right now, he's feeling heartbroken that I had to cancel kind of a party at a water slide. I did that. I'm the worst mom ever. So for safety, I canceled a hotel trip that we had booked, and he was heartbroken. Oh, mom, you're the worst. I need to go to the water slide. Please let me go to the water slide. You know what? I agree. I agree that the water slides are the best. And I wanted to go so bad. You know why? Because you love it, and what you love, I love. Guess what, man? It sucks, and I'm sorry. And then we've got some choices. I know you love water. I can bring the water table in the bathtub. I know it's against the rules, but maybe we'll make up our own rules. Or maybe we're going to make bath bombs, or maybe we're going to have, glow in the dark bath, or maybe. Think about 2 choices that you think are going to be off the charts great for them. They're going to love it. Is it the water slide? No, it's not. Is it banana splits? Well, sounds pretty good. And ultimately, that's what we did. We had a banana split party, and he's sensitive to sound, so we did not have music, but we did watch movies after, and it was fantastic. And so think about the challenge that you have with kiddo, and really wonder how you can address it. How can you respond where you're feeling chill? You're like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to say I'm the worst, because I'm not actually the worst, but yeah, it is the worst. It is the worst that I had to cancel it. I can't even believe it. I'm heartbroken. My heart is shattered. Can you believe it? And think about how you can validate the big emotions that they have, because as you begin to regulate with them and validate that, they're going to be able to learn those skills on their own. I'll say it takes a long time. Okay. Remember, no quick fixes. The reality is that it takes between 100 and 200 pairings of a child is trying to learn something before they learn it. I'm sorry. I didn't make up those stats. I didn't make the human brain. I'm just reporting. The good news is that if you make it silly, it's between 20 and 40 pairings, which means if I'm trying to teach my son something and I make it like I'm a goof, if I make it silly, if I tell a kid who's really feeling afraid that every time they feel afraid of going into their room, they imagine something totally goofy, they're feeling empowered. They're feeling like they have some tools, and within a very short amount of time, considering how long it could take, things feel manageable. Another thing is that a lot of our kids are very, very intense. And I want you to think about a time you were really angry, and then someone else says, oh, hey there, don't be upset. No, that's not going to work for me. When our child is intense, we have to match the intensity. Doesn't mean yell. It just means when my son is saying, oh, I can't believe it, I'm like, oh man, I know. That's the intensity, right? Like, I'm not angry. but I'm kind of intense for a minute. And then that's the idea of that agreement that, yeah, I know, the validation, oh, I'm so sorry, it sucks, or whatever language they use. And then low and slow body and voice is a technique that I've heard lots of times by lots of really amazing clinicians. And essentially it's, I'm matching my child's intensity, and I'm slowly going, my body and my voice is going slower. And I have kind of a high pitched voice, you're welcome, world. And I actually like lower my voice and lower my body and slow my body. So everything is slower and lower. And essentially that child, without even meaning to, is going to match you. My favorite thing that the kids have told me works is like, I want to help and I'm here when you're ready. That's essentially like a ticket. Like, you don't have to use this right now, but I'm not going away. I'm just these hands, these loving hands, and I'm here to support you. And I know things are hard. And then I kind of go far away enough that they're feeling like I'm not sending over them, but it's close enough where they're feeling like I haven't gone away. Same thing with, if I've got a couple kids, so many kids. Some of my kids sometimes will run away when they're feeling super stressed out. And I'll say, like, I'm here to help whenever you're ready. You let me know and I'll come check on you in a little bit and just see where you're at. And so I'll kind of just, knock on their door to respect their space and say, I'm still ready when you are, to help you. Supporting our children. So these are some tips that we have in our toolkit, our COVID-19 toolkit that we made, which is 21 pages. Lots of good stuff in there though. So preventing escalation comes easier for some. So for one of my kiddos, it's pretty easy to prevent his escalations. Like, I just know him and he knows me, and I'm like, hey buddy, sorry, it's really hard. And then he comes to my lap, he sits on me, and he's fine. And it also does become easier in time. That's that learning, right? That learning that we all have, that we're safe and that someone's got our back. Some of the tips to use are distraction, like I had said, is a very good short-term plan. Like, hey, we're gonna go have, some cuddle time, or, have you seen that balloon? Oh, look, a giant bag of balloons. It's a bad idea, don't pull them out. Making a recovery plan that can be used after your child has experienced escalation. Note, it's best to make this plan prior to an escalating event so that you can feel more prepared and in control. We essentially want to do it when they're calm, right? Like, when they're in the middle of an escalation, we can't problem solve. They can't hear us when their amygdala is in full force and their frontal cortex is off. It's impossible. Like, same thing with your partner, same thing with your mother-in-law. Like, it can't be done. Can't be done. Connecting to our children, allowing them to lead, and using the wait, watch, and wonder technique to understand what's happening for them. It's a pretty powerful tool. Discussing successes with your children, like being calm or calming down, and offering choices, or that you can do this option. One of the youth that we work with, I just adore her, and her team was saying, oh, like, she doesn't like to do this one activity. She doesn't like to, for example, clean up her room. And so I say, this is the staff saying, so I say, we could argue about it for 20 minutes, or you could be done in 5 minutes, and then we could go, watch a movie. What you want to do? It's amazing what that choice gives the power back to the child. And wow, that room is, okay, it's not that clean, but it's pretty good. She did the job. She did the job. This is a checklist that I made with families that I really like. So, is it reasonable? Are the expectations I have for my children right now even reasonable? Probably not. Okay, guys, probably not. Can I plan all the parts of what I'd like to do? So, like, I'm thinking about educating my children right now on science. Can I plan it? Like, what's my planning? What's my investment before, so it's set up for them to have success? Do I have help or the items I even need? If I don't do it. How do my children respond? Are they even open to it when I'm like, hey guys, we're going to learn science. We're going to do 15 worksheets today. It's going to be awesome. No, they're not open to it. I'm going to tell you that right now. Hey, guess what? We're going to do a volcano. Yep, they're into it. Is it worth the fight? Do you have the energy? I don't have the energy to fight about doing 15 science worksheets right now. Will I next week? Maybe. But I don't today, so I'm not going to bring it up. So give yourself permission that you can ease up on your own expectations and the expectations of your children. It will be so much easier right now, I promise you. This is the sequencing. I have a little bit more of an example for you guys. Sequencing is a very powerful tool, not just for kids, also for ourselves and our best friends and our partners. So sequencing helps our children organize their thoughts and feelings about all situations, not just isolation or COVID. When a child is in distress about a situation, they can think logically about the situation or their feelings. You can help arrange their thoughts and feelings by validating them through sequencing. So sequencing is the process of breaking down everything that's just happened that led to the child's current state, if they're upset, for example. And this can include trauma, right? So trauma is either healed or made in relationships. So they're not going to be traumatized by COVID. They're going to be traumatized by other people's responses, by the relationships they share and people reacting or getting upset, or, like that's the truth of it. Again, trauma can always be repaired, and trauma is inevitable. We will all experience it in our life. But if we can fix it right then, yeah, let's do it. An example would be, like I had given before about first you were doing this thing, walking. We were walking to the car, and then you tripped on the ice, and then you fell down and you hurt your leg, and ouch, that hurts so bad. And now you're really upset and sad. No wonder. And I'm here to help. So we're going to talk about some tips and tricks about connecting to our children and helping them feel set for success. And this includes very complex children, even more than the average child. So be aware of your facial expression. Practice in the mirror. That 1 second response of when you walk in the room and they're doing something they shouldn't, that says it all. Complex kids, sensitive children, individuals like us, we actually read those facial expressions like anger, frustration, shock, sadness as rejection. And I'm sorry, that's just the way we are, but we're wired for fear more than the average brain, which has kept us alive. And so we just keep doing it. And so, we can recover from that too. There's even this past week, my daughter was playing in the living room. She dumped my plants my whole planter of succulents upside down, and there was literally mud all over the carpet. And she was like, Mom, we have a problem. And I walked in unknowing, and I look and oh, and then she's, oh no, Mom. And she's a pretty hardy kiddo, and she could tell that I was just shocked. But I was like, wow, I'm really surprised. I can see you tried to clean up, and that was really cool. That must have been really scary to dump over the whole thing and try to clean up by yourself. Wow. And she was like, yeah, I tried really hard, Mom. And you know what? It's fine because we can just clean it up together. And I was like, high five, man. You got it, kiddo. Let's get the vacuum. And it was fine. But I had that look that every human has when they find mud all over the living room. That was the face I had. It was accurate. Use a smile to let them know when you're happy to see them, which should be always. If they've gone out to play and they're coming back inside, oh man, how was it? That smile indicates safety. And that's really the only face that tells us that we're safe, unfortunately. It'll change, it'll grow, they'll be different eventually, but right now, that's the way it is, especially when things feel so scary with being in isolation. When they talk about worries, stop whatever you are doing and listen. Be interested, but not too much, not too much. I had this amazing mom who said to me, my kiddo was showing me a Valentine's from a girl, and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I want to take pictures of it. I want to show my friends. And he was shut down. He was done with the conversation. I was like, that's such a normal response for a parent to have though, when we're super pumped and we're just like, we just love our kids and want to be excited for them, but don't be too intense, guys. Simmer down. That includes when my son actually does some errands or with me or cleans up or whatever, right? Right now we're pretty much in our house every second of every day. But the other day, my son did the dishwasher. Right, hold on, take a breath. Without being asked, and was like, hey, Mom, can I give you a hand with anything else? And I was like, watch your face, Mom, watch your face. Wow, that's really kind. Thank you so much for your help. I really did need a little bit more help. Can you please grab that dish from downstairs and put it in the dishwasher to help me out? And he did it. I didn't want to be too intense and have like balloons and have a party, but I kind of felt like that, to be honest with you. But then it'd have been weird and awkward, and you wouldn't want to do it again, right? Listen to their opinion, even if it's hard. Wait until they're done to respond. Repeat what you heard them say, and make sure that you understand. So if my son comes to me and he's like, "Oh, F this, stupid so-and-so, I can't believe it," I'll be like, "Oh man, that sounds so frustrating. It sounds like, Joey, he has a really hard time, saying things in a calm way, and it was so hard for you to hear that." So I'm summarizing what he said to help him know that I'm listening to him and that I honor his experience and his feelings. Low verbal or nonverbal. We've got lots of kids with complex needs, sometimes selectively nonverbal, right? Like that's okay. That's okay that they learn at their own speed. Lots of complex kids have uneven development, and that they learn at their own pace. They got their own journey. We take a little longer to learn some things, and we're awesome and ahead in other ways, right? And so if you have kids that are low or nonverbal, they're still hearing you, whether they fully understand or not. So use a little less words maybe. You're upset, I'm here, and I can help. And be close by, not too close. Remember, don't be too intense, guys. So be aware of patterns. Oh, this is so important. Most behaviors represent attempts to say or do something, whether we are aware of it or not. Let's be curious. I would say all behavior has a purpose. And so if you don't feed the need, it's going to bite you. So step ahead, be curious about it. It will be a good tool for you to have for life. And also know that you can't always be perfectly curious. You can't always be perfectly calm in every situation. I mean, all of us parents, including me, have had moments where we're like, oh, I didn't do the best there. I'm going to have to do some repair. And we'll talk about repairing as well. Actions are the observable things that children say or do, or all people. The context is the details of the environment that the action or behavior is in. So that can be, I gave instructions. That was the context. I said, hey kiddo, screen time is done. Oh mercy. Oh mercy, guys. The outcome is pleasant outcomes lead to things that we want to repeat. If the outcome is my son is screaming, and I say, oh, do you want more screen time? There you go. Well, he's going to do it more, right? Unpleasant outcomes are things that we would like to avoid. What would we focus on, or what we focus on to happens more? So, yay, I don't know. For us as parents, if we're focusing on the things our kids are doing really well, they will naturally happen more. If we focus on the things that we ourselves are doing well, they will naturally happen more. We won't even have to think about it. It just happens. That's how the human brain is. So that's a little bit of magic for you. Put that in your back pocket for a rainy day. The challenges are that all humans have a negative bias. We are made to notice the challenges and the negative things in life for safety. So that's a challenge, but know that and then shift yourself back to things that you're doing awesome in, because there's tons of things that you're doing awesome things in. So if it's unpleasant and I'm like, hey there, Liam, I know that you're wanting to have more screen time and we can't have it right now, even though it's the best thing ever and it's your favorite and I wish we could have it all day, but we can have it at 2 o'clock. That's more likely to have like an outcome for him and for me that's going to be more positive. If we could connect to these children easily, we would do it. And the same goes for these kids. If they could be calm all the time, they would. Every kid wants to have a sense of belonging and wants to have, calm relationships and get what they need and want. Every human is like that, and these kids are no different. So here's a couple tools that we're going to go through really quickly about connecting to our kids. Using structure and predictability. Using visual tools really helps all humans. Like I have a calendar. It's really helpful for me. It's very visual. First and then boards, schedules or instructions with pictures, getting our kids to help us with those things. First we're going to put our dish away and then we're going to be watching iPad. So this is an example of first and then, or arrival at home, or get up in the morning, or bedtime routine. And have your kids Pick the pictures, draw them, color them. What are the words they like to use? The more you invite them into the process, the more buy-in they will have. First, and then the most important thing is a reinforcer or things that they like best. What's their preferred stuff? Use it. If it's iPad, which it's iPad, I know it's iPad. I'm not going to judge you. First do the things that you need to do, and then you know what? You got iPad, man. Just enjoy. You want Fortnite, kiddo? I love Fortnite. Let's dance. It's going to be great. Also, do the dishes or shower, child, shower. We all have needs for quiet, rest, movement. You do, and your kids do too. Hold on. So humans have a way of reacting. We do that. We get upset. We become escalated. Hold on. Wait, give hints, and just tell them what you want them to do, right? If we have a kiddo who's hitting another sibling because they're feeling frustrated, hey kiddo, are you saying, please give me back my police car? Yeah, great, let's do that. What does the child see, feel, hear, taste, and smell? Being curious about their body experience is really helpful to help us stay calm as parents, because it puts our frontal cortex in full engagement and helps us be thoughtful and mindful of what they're experiencing. Connecting with what the child does, it could be Pokemon cards. Yeah, I'm sorry. It could be a lot of things. I don't like Fortnite. I'm not a fan of playing that game. I suck at it. It's hilarious. But I'm gonna have a dance party. I'm gonna win. So what can you do to connect with your kiddo of stuff that you could tolerate or maybe find joy in? I'm not the parent that's gonna want to play Barbies for 2 hours. I can't tolerate it. But I can clean up the Barbie house and set it up for you. I can go to Toboggan and with Rubble the Paw Patrol, and we're living it up, my friend. I can put the kids in a wagon and I can walk for an hour, and they're having the best time with snacks and all kinds of. That's me matching the areas that I'm strong in with the things that my children enjoy. And that's a really great way to connect, because they're going to know if you hate baking and you're like, don't touch that. Oh no, you measured it wrong. Oh, there's an eggshell in when you crack the egg. Honestly, who cares, right? So match the things so that they can authentically know that you're having a great time. Because if you're not authentically having a great time, they can read it a mile away. Using your words, listening carefully, repeating what you think that they meant. Talk less, say nice things, avoid the word no, right? The word no is triggering for a lot of kids. And so I found a way around that by not really saying the word no. That's the agreement and the validation and the choice, right? Oh, yeah, you want to eat 400 Skittles right now. They're delicious. I mean, they're disgusting. They're delicious. I know you love them. I also love candy or ice cream or chocolate or video games or fill in the blank. We can't eat 1,000 Skittles first thing in the morning because it's 6 a.m., but we could make waffles from scratch while I have coffee and then watch a movie after. What do you think? And then it's sounding pretty good. Also, hide the Skittles. Why are they out, you guys? Why are they out? Put them away. Okay, so how? Connecting to different kids at different times and different ages and developments is not easy. I know it. I have so many children. Reduce distractions. If I want to get my attention or the attention of my son, I have to turn off Fortnite. I have to get him a time that he can come and check in with me. I have to connect with him on his level, on his terms. Every night, after I put my other 2 kids to bed, I have special time with my oldest, and he picks the show and he picks the snack. And it's a really great way of inviting children who are difficult to connect to, or just preteens in general, to actually look forward to spending time with you. Maybe they want to work out. I don't know. They want to have a dance party. Let them school you. Let them school you so hard that you're like laughing out of your mind with joy. Letting them come to you, talking slowly gives them time to understand what you say. Pause. Be available. Start the conversation with, I was thinking about snack. That's a good tip just from me to you. Find time to be together. It's hard. When you have a bunch of kids and there's a million things to do, it's very difficult to find time to connect. Those times of connection and attunement They buffer you and they protect you from the challenging times. They keep your relationship intact, even though you have a very sensitive, maybe even volatile, violent kiddo. A lot of the questions that came forward from a lot of people is violence in the home. And I know that that's something that our sensitive kids, they struggle with. And as caregivers, we struggle with it too. And I feel like that I'll probably do a special webinar just about violence, because it's such a big topic and it's so challenging for us as caregivers to deal with. Learn about their interests and do it. Again, match them from what things that you like. So I love artwork. I love doing art. I love baking. Those are things that some of my kids like and some of them don't. And so I match different special time with each of my kids. Because if kids are busy and they're interacting and they're doing things that they love, it's amazing how much less energy they have to tantrum. It's amazing. These are things that families have said really work. So these are kids that says, I really like it when I hear, I get it, or when you focus on the things I can do. Or the statement of, yeah, I see that. I see that that's hard. Breathe, slow down, and calm yourself. Show them that they're happy to see them. I would feel hurt too. That sounds hard. I'm sorry to hear that. Be authentic, honest, transparent, super important. Be there in that moment. And if you need to, imagine people are watching you. When your child is escalating and they are screaming and yelling and throwing a fit, we want to react. We're human. If you imagine that there's somebody else watching through the window, it's amazing how that changes your behavior. Imagine it's on the front page of the Free Press. They're still printing that right now, I know. And if you need, imagine a big space bubble, because it's sometimes hard to listen to those kiddos when without being sucked in. Oops, sorry. What if you saw my differences as gifts? Think about that. We all have differences and sensitivities, and there's an upside to all of it. And something shifted for me several years ago when I was helping my son see his differences as gifts. And when I saw my own sensitivities as gifts to the world and gifts to my family, I felt calmer. I felt like I could do a lot of things. I had a lot to offer people, and it's helped my children also feel that way about themselves, calmer, happier. So think about that. Take a look and read these over for a second while I get myself some water. And these are things that people have said, children have said, that are really helpful for them. So hang on. This PowerPoint will also be shared with people. So I'll make it into a PDF and I'll put it online. I want you to think about your love language. We all have love languages, ways that we like to show care and love to people, but also how we like to receive it. And this tool has been really helpful for me. I can send out a bigger picture as well if you'd like. Think about yourself and how you like to receive care. A lot of sensitive people or complex people have many ways that they like to receive. And I would argue that we need to receive connection and attachment and attunement a lot more than the average person. Sorry guys, complex people, we're complex. And so these words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, acts of service, I would say that a lot of them, like quality time, physical touch especially, is kind of on our lead. So these kiddos aren't going to love someone just coming up and touching them, but if they are needing connection, they might come to us, and then we got to be ready. Those big hands, right? Kind hands. Quality time too. My 12-year-old, he loves to have quality time, but on his terms, right? So he's picking a show, he's picking a snack. It's honestly, it's a little bit of magic. And I feel so grateful that he's willing to share that with me, especially with his age. So think of some creative ways that you might be able to connect with these kiddos and bring a little bit of joy in their life. Some affirmations that I found online today. I really like it. I am resilient. I trust the universe. This time will pass. All of these are true. You are resilient. This time will not last forever. It is hard, but you have tons of tools already, and you'll learn more tools for sure. Humans have the capacity to heal, grow, and learn. You don't need to fix everything. You can just be, and some days are going to be easy and some days are going to be hard. This is also another tool that we have is what can you see, what can you hear, what can you smell, taste, and what can you touch or do? We have a longer version of this with more examples in the toolkit that we've shared. Essentially, these are things for us because as much as we are here to talk about connecting with our kids and supporting them with scheduling, and there's tons of great ideas online about scheduling, what's manageable? Is your kid into it? Is it worth the fight? And how do you care for yourself? Every morning I'm making myself something very, very delicious, like a cup of tea that's like all my favorite stuff, like a latte. And that's just like a little bit of warm for my heart, my soul. Like it's just something special for me. And I would encourage you to find something every day that you can look forward to as many times as you can during the day, but at least once. It's just for you, just for you. This is also another challenge that families are coming up with. It's like, okay, I understand the brain, I understand disability now and sensitivity. I'm starting to make a schedule or something that's going to work for my kids and me. I'm trying to do some self-care for me, and I understand that, but also my kid's super worried. And I'm worried, and how do I talk to them about illness and COVID and germs? And I feel scared to even mention it. This is a really big topic, and we actually have in 2 weeks a special series. The first one is about how to help ourselves through health anxiety, like with it, through it. It's an experience, super fun. And also, how do you help your kids with health anxiety? So we're working, our whole team in the communities, we're working on that. If you have different questions that you'd like to hear about that, please send them to us. Right now, in terms of talking about it, if we can stay calm, it will encourage our kids to know that they're safe, even though things feel very scary right now. And they do. I'm scared, you're scared, we're all scared. We're confused, or both. Explaining the situation. So parents can say, like, I know it's hard right now. It's normal to have these worries. Canada learned so much about other places that got this illness before us. So we're trying to take care of the extra safe right now. This means washing our hands really well, giving ourselves space from others. Living in isolation in our house is not easy. Not going places with lots of people, right? Those are things that they learn lowered the safety. And so we are going above and beyond. We're just trying to make sure that everybody's super safe here in Canada because we're figuring it out, right? We've learned so much and we're taking that information to heart. What are some places that have lots of people? And then they'll answer, right? Like having a conversation about it. My son was like, oh, school, that makes sense now. Yeah, it does make sense. It makes perfect sense. Also, still hard, guys. You're right. So we're going to try to spend more time at home for a while. We don't know how long it's going to be. And as soon as I know, I will tell you. At home, we can take care of things. We can make sure things are clean and safe. Are you going to be bored? Sometimes. But we'll try our very best to make sure that that's not going to happen. If that means that we can increase the fun for you and for me by making forts every Monday night, guess what? Fortnite, but the other kind of Fortnite. Are we going to have banana splits? Yeah, we've had that every day. It's delicious. What are the things that you guys need to increase your joy? Is it dance parties with your kids? Is it special crafts? Are you guys artists? How can you help people? Talking about what you've done to help other people. That could have been making bread for a stranger. That could have been, posting something that you knew would be really helpful. That could have been donating $5. That could have been, making a budget for your own family. What are you doing to help people or yourselves? And share that. That's really important for them to know that they don't feel helpless in this situation, that there's actually good things happening. China's learned a lot, and talking about that. Maybe don't share stats, but don't share the stats. Don't do that. People will forget what you did and forget what you said, but they won't forget how you made them feel. And this also goes for our kids. If we need a timeout, go have a timeout. That's okay. You're just having an opportunity to teach them that it's okay to get upset and need a moment. Look at that, teaching them all the time, like you're a teacher. There's lots of ways that you're going to be teaching your children over the next weeks. I don't know how long it's going to be. I wish that we had answers, but we don't. But I am really proud of us. I'm really proud that we're all staying safe and that we're doing our part to help others that are more vulnerable be safe. And you should be really proud too, because you're doing your part. And your kids are doing their part. Every day that they're staying inside, they're helping, the gentleman who's down the street who, doesn't have someone to get groceries for him yet, right? Like your child is doing their part too, and kind of celebrate that. I just want to thank you again for being part of this. I feel really grateful to have spent this time with you. And if you have any questions, please visit our website. We have tons and tons of free stuff coming up, and they're made for you, with you. Everything that we do is like that, because we know at Inspire that you know best what you need and how you need it. And we honor that. We honor your knowledge and your brilliance. And we're really lucky that our team here at Inspire is just so honored that you invite us to be part of things, to make things a little bit better in your world. So thank you very much. I am going to stop the share and stop the recording.